Watch the Game podcast. It's your man L.A. Cheatham.
A victorious Benjamin Banneker checking in. What's good, good people? What's good?
Yeah, I see you feeling pretty good tonight, Penn. Your Michigan Wolverines went to Columbus, Ohio, and for the second year in a row, went down and beat the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well, that's what happened when you clearly the preeminent program in college football in the Big Ten Conference. I think it's safe to say that Michigan is the number one program in the Big Ten Conference right now after 2 years of beating Ohio State. So.
Well, after Coach Harbaugh had such a rough start, I think it's pretty safe to say that he has, with I guess with them being patient with Coach Harbaugh and him kind of being able to take a look at other opportunities, kind of putting the fans kind of pissing them off in the offseason. But he came back this year and followed it up with another opportunity to win a Big Ten championship and beating Ohio State for the second year in a row.
Yeah, man, this is good to be a Michigan Wolverine right now. Like, this is his 8th year now, so it took us a minute to get to this point, but we're here now. So it's good to be on this side of the coin. Now it's good to see Ohio State fans wondering if they got the right guy in charge, and they got to go through all the turmoil that we've been going through for about the last 2 decades. Hold that L for another year. And we're going to keep it on moving to the Big Ten, the championship, and then the college football playoff.
And they will be taking on your mom's Purdue Boilermakers.
and don't forget Sean and Dev. They sent a text after the game like, "Hey, we should go down there to check the game out." I said, "Nah, man, y'all cheering for the wrong team. I can't go with y'all."
I got to be honest with you. If we could pull that off, it would be nice.
Man,
it would be nice. I'm pretty much. I think I know who's going to win the game, but I think it would be nice to go see the Wolverines and the Boilermakers go at it for the Big Ten championship down in Indianapolis on Saturday night. As we talk about Coach Harbaugh, one of the former Chicago Bears, and we're going to touch back on that with the Michigan Wolverines a little bit later on in the show. But it's NFL Football Sunday for our Chicago Bears, which can also be called the official injury report here at Watch the Game podcast. They had about 7 guys go down in this game. Although Justin Fields did not start, the interesting thing about this game was, aside from the fact that they're not in the playoffs, not playing for the playoffs, was to see with Trevor Siemian, what could he do with this offense? Could he get other wide receivers involved? How effective he could be? How effective the offensive line would be against the Jets? And then on the other side with the Jets, they're benching their second-year quarterback, Zach Wilson, for other reasons. They calling it a reset, giving him a chance to take some time off, get mentally prepared for football again. But when you look at this game and you look at how Mike White played, you got to question if the Jets gonna go forward with Mike White at quarterback. I know he's playing against the Bears' bad defense, but they put up 31 points against our Bears. And as I was watching that game, I had to think about it. They are playing for the playoffs. You don't sacrifice the playoffs just to get one guy, developed. There's an opportunity for the coach to make the playoffs, for the Jets to make the playoffs, and then maybe they can come back to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way it shakes out. I mean, it's a major indictment. They had to sit him down. I mean, they lost last week's game 10-3 to the Patriots on a punt return at the end, and we all saw the press conference where he said he don't feel like he let the defense down. Lo and behold, our beloved lowly Chicago Bears roll in town banged up, without our main weapon, Justin Fields. And you got Mike White go 22 for 28 for 315 and 3 tubs. Like, that moves them up to 7-4. And to your point, like you don't just squander a 7-4 season just to get your number one draft pick back in the game. So, he may be sitting down for a considerable amount of time now, based on what Mike White was able to put on tape, what he was able to put on film today, and they got the win impressively. So I don't know who they play next week, but just the mere fact that they 7-4. They still in the playoff hunt. I just saw the statistic come up, the Chiefs-Rams game. They are the last wild card spot in the AFC right now. So you don't throw that away. I know they got a second-year head coach. I don't know how you say his last name. Robert Saleh, I think his name is. You don't waste
Salah.
Salah. Yeah. You don't waste those opportunities. So I mean, we could possibly be talking about Zach Wilson played himself out of the Jets' job. I know they got Joe Flacco on the staff. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't think they want to go that route because he's an older quarterback. But, I mean, Mike White looked good. You got to give him his credit. 3 touchdowns, 315 yards. I mean, Zach, you sitting again next week. You might be dressed, but I don't think you're going to get the start.
And you got to think about it. You cannot totally rule Joey Flacco out with his experience. With that team's opportunity to make the playoffs, you want experienced guys running that offense, giving them the best opportunity to win. If Zach Wilson if he's not ready to do that, you cannot pass up Joey Flacco. Keep in mind, Zach Wilson wasn't even a backup today. He was just in sweat. I mean, in a hoodie, But interesting thing looking at this game when you talk about from the Jets' perspective, as far as the Bears are concerned, it's about, you can pretty much call this exhibition football again for the Bears.
Yeah. I think that's kind of my two things I was looking for was how different or similar the game plan was going to be with Trevor Siemian back there at quarterback. We knew he wasn't going to be able to escape the pocket and use his legs like Justin. But I just wanted to see, were they going to totally overhaul their game plan from what they did? Because word on the street, according to our man Jay Fields, is they were stealing stuff from the Baltimore Ravens. So I wanted to see, were they going to still kind of have somewhat of that same offense? But, I mean, as far as they threw it 25 times, that's right aligned with what Justin was doing, except, Trevor didn't have the carries that Justin had. But if you add up the carries, they got 14 out of Demo, 9 out of Evans. That's 23. Trevor Siemian had 4 carries. I know he went for it on 4th down twice. One of them, I was like, why did you go to the outside like that instead of just falling for it? But that's here nor there. So we got 23, 27. They ran the ball 29 times because Velvet Jones got 2 jet sweeps. I'm still calling him Velvet Jones. So, I mean, that's kind of right in line what we've been seeing. Justin been running the ball between 15 and 20 times a game. Then you handing it off to Demo and Khalil Herbert. They getting 10 and 15. So they kept the game plan pretty much the same. But like you said, it was pretty much exhibition football. I don't think we expected much going into this game, given the injuries that we knew we was coming into the game with, because Brisker and Gordon didn't play. Eddie Jack went down. So it was just like, it's almost one of them games like when the Vikings played the Cowboys and they lost 40-3. Like, it was so just a one-off. It's like, how much attention do we pay to this other than the injuries that we came out the game with?
I mean, when you think about it, Simeon was able to get some rhythm from time to time on some of the series, but if I can remember correctly, the Jets came up with 2 timely blitzes on 2 different possessions to break the rhythm of the offense. Bears never really recovered from that point, and then the offense, when Eddie Jackson went down, the defense just kind of started breaking down in the secondary, started breaking down in the run defense. It was just, the Jets were just, running their wheel, passing their wheel, pretty much. Injuries just piling up for the Bears. Like I said, 7 guys went down in this game. Riley Reef, Dane Cruikshank. Eddie Jackson went down, of course. Darnell Mooney went down. EQ St. Brown went down. I don't know if he returned. Chase Claypool was limping a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Bourne went down. So I counted, if I'm counting correct, that's 7 guys I got that went down in just this game alone. Previously, before they go and what you can pretty much call it, this next game with the Bears is going to be for Bear fans and Packers fans. This is the big game. I mean, this is the biggest game of the season for both of those teams. Looking at the fact that I don't think either one of them is in the hunt to make the playoffs. And I think the Packers got a game later on tonight. They're playing Philly.
Yeah.
So, Packers lose that game. I mean, do they play Rodgers? Do they? That's the question in Green Bay. It's about Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he's going to stay, whether or not. I mean, you got Jordan Love on his rookie contract. When you going to get a chance to look at him and see if he's worth, extending? A lot of questions in Green Bay for many different reasons. A lot of questions in Chicago for many different reasons. But for the two fan bases, this is a big game, regardless of the records. So going into this game, it's a big game. You can throw the records out. I believe it means a lot to both fan bases. So it's going to be interesting to see if these guys that got banged up today, who's going to be available. If Justin Fields is going to be available, is it worth throwing Justin out there for this game? What does it mean to the franchise? What does it mean to the Packers? That's going to be the question as far as I'm concerned going forward.
And like you just said, able bodies. Who's going to be on the field? Now, just take Justin out of the equation. I mean, is Eddie Jackson going to be able to play? We know he went down in the game, but Gordon and Brisker didn't even play at all today. So are they going to be ready to go? You just said Riley Reef. That's offensive line. We already know the offensive line been struggling. Montgomery, I mean, we know he is in the last year of his deal. He needs these guys to be up front so he can be effective. Like, is Mooney going to play? Like, who is going to be on the field? I think that has a lot to do with it too, because, I mean, if we don't have our guys, I mean, what are we expecting as Bears fans? Like, I'm not expecting Trevor Siemian to go out there and get us a win if he's playing against Aaron Rodgers. I'm just not. So who's playing for the Bears?
Especially when you talk about the Bears defense matching up with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on. I mean, you're going to take Aaron Rodgers all day long. I mean, but interesting. I mean, one thing in question was who was going to take those carries that Khalil Herbert left behind with him going on injury reserve. With Darrington Evans coming out, he had 9 carries. I forget what his total was, but he had about 9 carries. Yeah, 9 carries for 34 yards. He was a guy that they brought in the offseason, thinking he would be in the kick return game, more of a special teams guy. But as you know, typically in the NFL, when you get to this part of the season, guys tend to have to fill in different roles. It was interesting to see that he got the carries and Ebner didn't get the carries.
Yeah, that was my question. Was he a healthy scratch? Like, how come we didn't see him at all? He didn't show up on my stat sheet nowhere. So I'm like, did he get moved to the practice squad? Did he, get waived? Like, what happened with Ebner today? Was they not impressed with what he did last week?
Ebner got in the game. He got in the game. I think he was in pass protection. I did see him on the field. He didn't get any carries. And like I said, after Khalil Herbert was injured, I was wondering who would take the bulk of those carries, that second tailback's carry. But Darrington Evans did the job today. Looking forward to the Green Bay game. It's so many things to look forward to. I mean, as far as this team has to fill the holes. And it's Green Bay, Chicago. And then you go to the bye week. And I think pretty much after this game, win, lose, or draw, I think it goes downhill from that point, meaning just keep developing guys, keep Justin healthy if you can develop him at the same time. But I don't know if you're gonna see no more than one or two more games out of Justin.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Especially, I mean, we 3-9. If he can't go next week, do you bring him back after the bye? Again, he needs the field time. We not arguing on that. He definitely needs the field time. But at this point, it's like, at what's the risk factor at this point? We need this guy fully healthy going into the offseason. We got cap space, we got draft capital. We need to get some guys, and you don't want to go into the season where maybe he take a shot or something, and maybe that shoulder ain't fully healed. Now he got to have off-season surgery. That set everything back. It's just like the NBA. We didn't clinch our playoff spot. There's no reason. There's no reason for, I ain't gonna say LeBron. There's no reason for Michael Jordan to be out there playing the last 3 games of the season. Give him some rest. He's done his work.
I mean, you can say LeBron because when LeBron don't make the playoffs, he out.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, so you can use LeBron. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Because when LeBron knows his team ain't making the playoffs, he's definitely out, and it's been proved.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you think about something else, okay, we hoping that Claypool isn't injured for the duration of a long period of time. Because if I set my own personal goals as a Bear fan, is to continue to see Claypool be a part of this offense and contribute down the stretch. Interesting thing about playing against the Packers and then going into the bye week. Coming out of the bye week, how much more involved could they get Claypool? Now today, it just seems that the referees aren't giving the Bears any slack because I've seen a potential pass interference committed on Claypool in the game down in the end zone that they didn't call. But going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how they get him involved. It'd be nice to see if Justin can do it, can be on the field with him a couple more games.
Yeah, I think they called the one where he caught it on the sideline, maybe like it was inside the red zone. They called that one, but he caught it, so whatever. But again, I don't know how many targets he had today, but he's been there a month now, right? So now I'm like, okay, I know he got to know. He got to have a package now. I know he knows 20 to 25 plays. I know he kind of understands the verbiage of what we're trying to do here in Chicago. He got to. He's an NFL player, been here 4+ weeks. I'm sure they was giving him a crash course when he first got here to get him up to speed. He should be up to speed now. So now it's like, okay, you brought this guy here and he's getting 2 catches a game, 1 catch a game. Like, why is he here? Why is he here? Like, I need him to be more of a focal point, especially with Mooney going down today. I don't even think Mooney had a catch. Like, those got to be your guys. Cole Kmet had 3 catches. Claypool had 2. Byron Pringle had 2. And Dante Pettis had 1. And EQ had 1. Like, I need that bumped up. I need, Cole Kmet. I'd like to see him get 4 or 5. I'd like to see Claypool in the 6 to 7. Mooney, 4 or 5. Like, that's what we kind of looking for this offense to progress. But I just go back to, what are they doing with Chase Claypool? Because we are well past the point of he don't know the playbook now. He should know a solid portion of the playbook, like they can rely on that. And again, like I said last week, like, get him out there on the field. Trevor Siemian or whoever quarterback and Justin, like, okay, just run this deep out. That's what we're looking for on this. What's wrong with that? He has to be on the field and has to be a part of the game plan because you brought him in here to be a difference maker.
It looked like we seen a little bit more of that today. I mean, they did throw to him deep twice. He had 5 targets, had 2 catches for 51 yards. So it was better than what we've seen. But going down the stretch, I just want to see more. And then one name we didn't mention, N'Keal Harry. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 weeks now. So I got to figure with Darnell Mooney going down, his injury looked pretty serious. I can't see them bringing Darnell Mooney back right away. Don't know the severity of his injury. But I don't see them bringing him back for the Packer game. So maybe N'Keal Harry gets a chance to play against the Packers. And you got another big weapon out there, another big a big receiver. And then also EQ St. Brown. I'm not sure if he finished the game today, but those 2 receivers, so, got a little banged up. Even Claypool So maybe N'Keal Harry gets a chance to play and maybe even finish out this season after the bye week because I think we still need to know more about what he can do. If they can get Valus Jones a little bit more involved in the passing game, I mean, these guys still have to be evaluated. Unfortunately, we're not going to go to the playoffs, but going into the draft, going into free agency, a lot of questions need to be answered. And those guys have to prove that they deserve to be here next year and beyond.
If we don't see N'Keal Harry this week, I think it's safe to write him out of Chicago Bears plans. That'll be 4 healthy scratches in a row, and they just obviously don't have this guy in their plans or in their future plans or even in their present plan. I think it was just a wasted bad trade. You know, you gave up a 6th rounder for him.
Yep.
And they just gonna eat it. I think they're gonna be content with doing that if we don't see him on the field, given the Mooney injury, and we don't know what's up with EQ.
Yeah. Bears Packers pretty much coming up next week. That's all we got to look for. The injury report, I guess, will be out on Monday. I mean, not on Monday, but
Wednesday.
on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll know more about, who's banged up, the severity of those injuries. But so that we can end on a high note, let's step over to the game piece of pig skin with the stripe on the ball, which is college football. Your Wolverines, as we touch on it again and wrap up, they went down to Ohio State and beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. And we talked about this game before. I felt like McCarthy needed to make 2 big plays in this game. Either way you go, with his feet, with his arm, whatever, he had to make 2 big plays. We also were hoping that Blake Corum would play. Well, he got 2 carries. He wasn't effective. He decided he couldn't go on that knee. Wolverines went down to Columbus and pulled it out. I know you're feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, and it went totally unexpected because I thought if we didn't have Blake and Donovan Edwards close to 100%, there was no way that we was going into Columbus to win that game. We ain't won that since 2000. Even with JJ giving us the 2 big plays that you said he needed to have, I still didn't think that would be enough without those guys. And I got to give credit to JJ. He had 3 touchdown passes. All of them was over 45 yards. I mean, these are the plays we was complaining about he was missing. Like, he's this close on the deep ball, and he was just missing them. He was hitting them in Columbus. They showed some looks that I hadn't seen when they brought in the running back. I don't know his name, number 20. We hadn't seen him at running back all year, and they set it up for that jump pass that he threw. If he'd have threw it out far enough, that would have been a touchdown. But we took the first down to keep the clock rolling, to keep the Ohio State's offense off the field, and that really started tightening the screws on them. But yeah, I just got to tip my cap to JJ. Donovan Edwards, 22 carries, 216 yards with a broken hand. Got to tip your cap to him.
2 touchdowns.
Forgot that. 2 touchdowns, 75 and 85 yards. Forgot about those. Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator, he had his guys ready to play. It was, when you think about how they won the game last year, everybody was saying it was a fluke. And then losing your offensive coordinator, Josh Gaddis, he goes to Miami, who was the top assistant. He won that award last year. He leaves. Mike McDonald, which was the D coordinator last year, he went back to the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh is flirting with going with the Minnesota Vikings. He comes back. All of this stuff happened in the offense, the offseason, and you come back and you go on the road to your arch rival. They got every narrative that they need. It's a get-back game, and you come back and beat them worse than you did the year before. That says something about that coaching staff, and I got to tip my hat to Jim Harbaugh. I don't always agree with what he's doing, but as long as it pays off that Saturday after Thanksgiving, I'm good.
That kid you talking about that threw that pass on the jump pass, they brought him in. Their tailback is Khalil Mullings.
Yeah.
He was the one threw that jump pass that could have went for a touchdown, but that's the guy you were trying to figure out what his name was. JJ McCarthy, 12 for 24, what 200? What's that? What he went
226, I think.
263 yards
Yeah,
and 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
So and then he scored a touchdown with his feet. So he made two big plays. I don't want to forget the receiver that caught the 2 touchdowns because that was a receiver that caught 2 touchdowns. Uh,
Cornelius Johnson.
Cornelius Johnson.
Yeah,
I think he was pretty integral in this game. I mean, he pretty much got it going. I mean, he made the big catch, which he was really on like third and short, 3rd and 6 or something like that.
yeah,
And Ohio State went into a zero coverage blitz, and he beat one man, and he was gone. He made a move, got the first down, got a hell of a lot more. Then he came back later on in the game and made another big play for another big touchdown. I didn't want to go without mentioning that kid because I'm pretty sure he wasn't expected to have 2 touchdowns in this game. So I wanted to give him his props. I mean, we knew McCarthy, he's going to touch the ball every play. We were expecting to see Blake Corum. He didn't get a chance to perform up to his potential with the knee injury. I felt like Donovan Edwards had to be effective in this game, but damn, I didn't think he would be that damn effective. But he came up with two really big touchdown plays that blew that game all the way open with the bum right hand. And he did not want to put the ball in that right hand, but he got the job done. And the Wolverines will be marching down to I-65, and they'll end up, playing for the Big Ten championship again against the Boilermakers.
yeah. We're gonna call it Michigan Stadium South or a Big House South, whatever you want to call it, because it's our second year down. It feels a lot like, and I know we reference Michael Jordan a lot on this show, but it feels a lot like when the Bulls finally got over the hump versus the Pistons. That first time we was like so excited to beat the Pistons. Mm-hmm. It was almost like the championship didn't really hit as hard as beating the Pistons. And now when you run it back and do it again the second year, it's like, okay, they legit. It's a real situation here. And I think that's what you're looking at with the Michigan Wolverines. Again, I'm just when they went into halftime, that score was 20-17. And I felt at that time we was lucky to be in the game because I think at that point we had one rushing yard. It was pretty much JJ, making plays and Cornelius Johnson making plays to keep us in the game. And then the second half, it was just we bullied them pretty much. We punched them in the mouth. They couldn't take the punch, and we just started walking over them. And you could feel it. You could feel it starting to turn in the third quarter when that thing got under 6 minutes in the third quarter, and we did that lengthy drive, and then we cashed it off with JJ running it in at the start of the fourth quarter. You could start to see it, and you could start to see Ohio State getting a little tight. They had some penalties. My man head-butted somebody 6 yards out of bounds. Like, dude, what are you doing? I think they had like 90 yards in penalties yesterday. So, I mean, it was just an indication of where the two programs at. And I don't think you can say Ohio State is the class of – not even the Big Ten. Just say the Big Ten East. I don't think you can say Ohio State is the Big Ten East leader in the clubhouse after what happened to them 2 years in a row.
I think what it comes down to, I want to think that Ohio State still has the edge when it comes to recruiting because they just continue to roll out guys, at least running back. They just keep rolling running backs out. I'd be like, where the hell are these guys coming from? But I think it comes down to discipline. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Michigan showed yesterday. I don't know how many penalties they had, but the penalties, I'm pretty sure Ohio State, they hurt themselves with the penalties. And then going into this game, there's so much talk about C.J. Stroud being the Heisman Trophy runner, favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And I kept telling you, some reason he just didn't come across like that to me. I don't want to disrespect the kid. Good quarterback, patient quarterback, but I just didn't really see. I didn't see a sense of urgency in him, and you mentioned you didn't see it either yesterday because when he had a chance to make a play with his feet, he didn't want to do it. And it seems like when you want to lead a team to victory, you're going to take a few chances, and he didn't really want to take chances with his feet. And he had a pretty good game statistically, I mean, he was what 31 for 48, 349 yards, 2 touchdowns. But you remember what I asked you? I know you guys not used to, it's always something that can happen against Ohio State, and it seemed like you guys were just waiting for that bomb to drop. You were just waiting for the big play, the big call to go against the Wolverines. And I kept telling you, I said, look, when was the last time you seen a whole football game with no turnovers? And just when it seemed like he was getting a little bit of a rhythm, and they went there hurry up offense, he threw 2 big picks to kind of to contribute to blowing this game open for the Wolverines. But I just don't see him as the Heisman Trophy guy, and I really don't. I think it's fair to say he may come out and go into the NFL draft, but if he came back for another year, it wouldn't hurt him. And when you talk about next year's game, when you talk about these 2 programs, I spoke on this too. You really got an opportunity to see what Michigan is going to look like next year. Because the guys that make plays in this game, I think pretty much all of them are coming back next year.
Except for Cornelius Johnson. He's a senior. This is the best game that he's had in his Michigan career. So he won't be back. Blake won't be back.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Blake only had 2 carries in this game.
Yeah.
Donovan Edwards got a lot of valuable experience in this game. That's got to carry over into the next week, into the rest of this season. However, they end up in the championship series tournament. He gained a lot of experience in that one game, and I just felt like at the end of that game, I'm like, damn. I mean, McCarthy can be back, Edwards can be back. I mean, those guys made some big plays in that game on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like when you looked at next year's Michigan team against Ohio State,
and that was, a lot of the insiders were saying when Jim Harbaugh was really on the hot seat, they gave him a 2-year extension because they was thinking that this team this year was the best opportunity he was going to have to beat Ohio State. Last year, they didn't see that coming, but he did it. So now you're looking at possibly running off 3 in a row. You're looking at possibly your second consecutive college football playoff berth, and you really got a shot. You really, depending on how the standings and things shake out, you really got a shot to be playing at bare minimum in the national championship game. I have to think that Michigan is a better football team than TCU, and as it's slotted right now, that's who we would play. So you might be looking at a Michigan-Georgia rematch, depending on what happens. It just depends on how it slots out, but it's not unthinkable to think these guys won't be playing in SoFi on January 9th, and I'm going to be off all week.
Okay, but we want to leave some meat on the bone for Tuesday night. We're going to get off a little bit more off into college football and the BCS championship top 4 teams going into that, because there's a lot to be determined. You got championship week coming up. So we're going to get ready for championship week, which is going to lead us into the bowl games. Then we can get off into the way the NFL playoffs are shaping up, the way the standards are going throughout the NFL. We know our Bears are out. So to leave a little bit on the bone, we can look forward to talking about Big Ten championship, other conference championships throughout college football. Hey, NFL standards. Hey, the Bears injury report is piling up. We could touch on that on Tuesday night. So we like for you guys to join us 8:00 Tuesday night, so we can get a little bit more of a schedule going on Watch the Game podcast. Let's leave something on the bone for him, Penn.
Hey, I ain't got no problem with that. Ain't nothing wrong with leftovers. We just came off of Thanksgiving. I'm good with that.
All right. So there you have it. Watch the Game podcast. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the victory, Uncle Hen. We'll be talking a little bit more about the college football championship, the conference football championships, the NFL playoffs, as they get ready to run down to the end of the NFL playoffs. One thing I found out today, The Bears got the last possible bye that you could have in NFL schedule. So did the Packers. But we talked about that.
Yeah.
And now that the injuries are piling up, something to think about. Watch the Game podcast.
And we out. We see y'all Tuesday. Y'all be easy.